Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Catalyst webinar series presented by the Education Committee for the Southern California PGA. The Catalyst webinar series is a bi-weekly educational platform for creating success and change in your club and career. We're excited to have some of Randy's gang from the sections teaching committee. Randy Chang has Jordan Thomas and Brandon Bittner on this morning. Brandon is the owner and operator of Golf Made Simple, and Jordan is the director of instruction at the Rick Smith Teaching Academy in Redondo Beach. But for a more in-depth introduction, Randy Chang's going to take that. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Good morning, John.
Good morning. Good morning, John. Thank you again for, putting this on every single Thursday, for our section members, and all the hard work that you put into being a board member. We also have today some people from the teaching and coaching committee that I invited to join us on this committee, and you'll be hearing a lot more from these gentlemen in the future. Jordan Thomas comes from background starting with experience working at the Jim McLean School, and he ended up working for me for a while, wanting to get back to more towards the West Coast. And from there, he ended up working for at Strawberry Farms for Henry Brunton, right? That's
Yep,
right.
Yep.
I'm over there at Strawberry, and then now has gotten to his little dream job here at Trump National with the Rick Smith Golf Schools. One of the reasons why I want to introduce these gentlemen is because one of the common things that they both did, and this includes Brandon, who is fairly new to our section, but has a lot of experience in the teaching and coaching world, working with a Golf Made Simple, which is a national brand, all over the country. He is getting he doesn't have his PGA at the end of his name because he's going to be getting that here real soon, hopefully in the next few months. But both of these guys did one thing in common. They gave me a call. They gave me a call wanting to get better. Through the work that I've been doing in the last 25, 30 years in the teaching and coaching industry, one of the things that I wanted to do was give back and to help others, become better. And that's the whole purpose and the objective for our teaching and coaching committee, is to help everybody in our section become better teachers and coaches. And not only in the X's and O's, the mechanics and the techniques, but also in the business side of it. This whole work-life balance that we keep on hearing about these days is really important. Financially doing better without having to put, every single day and having to work 7 days a week. Brandon just mentioned before we got on, there's a soccer game that he's going to watch. I'm going to go jump in the water here to get some surfing in, and it's only because of that. We're working a lot smarter and not necessarily harder. So that's some of the things that you're going to hear about today. Brandon called me up when he first got into Southern California, asking me about my school and how he can try to get more coaches hired, of which that's what we're struggling with right now. And from that phone call, we had a great discussion. I invited him onto the committee, and here these two guys have stepped up and started this Cornerstones of Coaching. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that it takes away that we are offering a lot of things for you to get better. And you just have to step up and do it. Make a phone call. Come out to the Teaching and Coaching Summit coming here in the next couple of weeks. If you haven't been to that, that's something that you have to do. And you'll end up meeting and learning a lot of other people that can help you get better faster. So anyways, without further ado, Jordan and Brandon, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Randy. Appreciate that. So really how this all came about was a while back. I kind of talked to Randy about the fact, and actually 10 years ago, did my level 3 presentation on the fact that sometimes the PGA doesn't train their apprentices or associates to teach better. They get them really good at cart fleet management, tournament operations, budget analysis, things like that. But the instruction side of things has kind of fallen off to the wayside. Now that was granted during 1.0 and through the PGA's progression to 2.0 and 3.0, it's gotten wildly better. But from a local level, just being able to help out individuals and really being able to touch people in our section was important to me. And when Randy told me what Brandon was doing, already kind of proactively doing that, it was just made complete sense for he and I to link up. And this is kind of what we've come up with, and a little bit of our baby. And it's just like everything else in life and in golf, it's going to grow and it's going to be better and better. And we're going to add on things. And just a little bit about me. I earned my Class A out in Hawaii in 2012. Realized I didn't want to be behind a desk doing budgets and cart fleet management. So I kind of looked for other opportunities. I haphazardly applied for a job with Jim McLean. And within a month, I was living in Miami, Florida, working for him at the Doral facility, running his junior elite programs. From there, like Randy mentioned, I had to get back to the coast with some surf on it. So reached out to him. Luckily, through the Oakley family, I was able to come crash on his couch and for a couple of months and help him with his academy and his programs there. Then ran the Henry Brunton School with 2 other really capable and smart young men, and then did a stint with Club Champion. So I've got through Henry and Club Champion, and currently I've probably got almost 7 years as a master fitter and builder. I was gracious and lucky enough to get the Golf Digest Best Young Instructor Award in 21-22. And then was back in August of 18, met with Rick Smith. And he was talking about just needing a presence out here at his LA facility. We opened the doors in January 2019, rocking and rolling. We've got 2 instructors underneath me and can't really complain. It's a really beautiful facility to look at.
And then so a little bit about me. I'm originally from the East Coast. So I grew up in a town of 800 people in Western Maryland. So just to be on a call like this and sitting in front of you all, if I were to tell my friends back home this was going on, they would pinch themselves. But for me, getting into the industry, it was very similar to Jordan getting into the industry. One of the things that happened to me early on is that I was actually discouraged from teaching because of my lack of experience. And as an assistant pro, not being allowed to teach lessons because the head pro basically was using that to feed his family. So it's something where I was discouraged from teaching at a young age, and I really didn't get the opportunity to teach until they let him go. And I got the opportunity to fill in on an interim basis as the head golf professional and started to teach a little bit more lessons there for the rest of the season. And they actually hired me back for one more season. And then I found Golf Made Simple in 2014. So apologies, John, but I'm actually not the owner, just the director of instruction. That's a gentleman named Mark Solomon who brought me on and saw something in me as a 26, 27-year-old guy from Maryland in a small town that he believed in me. And I learned in that moment that, you know, it's something where I had to make a change in my career to make myself happy. And coaching was part of my life. I was a high-level soccer player through college, and coaching is part of who I am and part of what drives me. So it was natural that I gravitated towards that in the golf industry. And when I found the opportunity with Golf Made Simple, that someone was going to invest time in me and to train me to become a good coach and a better coach, I had to jump at the opportunity because I'm quickly learning. And as you heard Randy say, we can't wait for people to make opportunities for us, right? If you have something that you want, it takes the effort to get out of your comfort zone to do that. And basically, as you see from what's in front of the screen, that's kind of how I've lived my career to that point. In that 15,000 hours of teaching since 2015, those golfers from 36 countries, I've been teaching them at locations, 13 different locations in the US. We have one in Spain, we're still trying to get that gig. And through that time, the main frustration we've had is as you heard Randy say, is finding coaches. And so we started early in February, I started developing this program where I ran a small little clinic in the desert chapter that went off well, and got in touch with Randy to see how it could be beneficial. And that's kind of how Jordan and I met, where it was something where Jordan was looking to do this, Cornerstone's idea, and I had just done one. So it was something where I think Jordan would agree that it was kind of a happy meeting between the two of us. And this is kind of how it kind of came to fruition. And so the one thing you're going to find out of both of us is that we're both very passionate about this, and that we both want to help, and really are here to encourage you as the listener to be involved in this process with us, because it's something that we're very much looking forward to, right, Jordan? So kind of along those lines, that's where it comes from. Our experiences in how we came into this industry are similar, and our moral compasses, I believe, align. So when we started talking and how we can come up with something, it was very natural for us to kind of get into an ebb and flow here to create this. So what is the cornerstones of coaching, Jordan?
We felt like we saw the cornerstones as pillars, right? And usually you need 4 pillars to hold up a structure. So 4 of the main ideas that we really came up with that are synonymous in just one-on-one teaching and building an academy, in running 3-day golf schools, in running successful junior programs, would be 1, building relationships. How do you communicate with someone? How do you show the passion for what you have, and also empathize and understand with what they're going through with having to learn a new skill? I've been lucky. 3 of the greats told me at 3 different times that you should be able to teach yourself something you know nothing about. So then that way you understand what your students are going through. And relating yourself to that is really important. Understanding what they're going through, understanding that, yeah, it's easy for us. We're golf instructors. We can just hit the ball. We can make it fade. We can make it draw, right? But these folks don't have our same ability level or talent level. So how do we get down to their level, right? And then knowledge, having knowledge about the game, the industry, what's going on in the industry, different types of drills, the business side of things, right? And then the execution part, where I'm just doing a quick overview here, just the execution of, leading the pack, leading the programs, leading the daily lessons, the junior programs, your team, right? And then the process of how it's all done. And we'll get into a lot more detail on that. I'll let Brandon start talking about more of the relationship aspect.
Yeah, so this is really kind of at the forefront of everything that we want to do with the Cornerstones. Yes, it's about building relationships with your players. The beauty of being a golf professional is the amount of different types of personalities, the amount of different types of individuals that we come in contact with. And the great thing about that is each one of them has a mind and a golf swing that is as unique as the fingerprint here on my thumb. And it's up to us to be able to learn as much as we possibly can about that person. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And when you can learn to develop a relationship and early on in that relationship, gain that person's trust, they're going to be more apt to listen to you. And that's not just on the golfer side, that's also with the attendees in this program that we're developing. This is something we're trying to do to develop and grow a community of people who want to learn more about coaching. And the great thing about the first event that we did last month was the relationships that were being built amongst the golf professionals in that environment. And the amount of passion that was there, the amount of interaction from the people who were in attendance and wanting to learn from us was a beautiful thing. And so it breeds back into being a golf instructor, being a golf professional is really about building those relationships, whether it's a member at your club, whether it's a guest at your facility at a resort, or whether it's somebody that you're coaching. And as a golf pro, as you learn to become a better coach and a better communicator and a better understander of people, that doesn't only make you more valuable on the lesson tee, that makes you more valuable behind the counter answering the phone. It makes you more valuable as a merchandiser or as a tournament operator. So these little things about the storytelling and most importantly, the listening skills that are required to be able to take in information so that you can give back the proper information. I think in communication, the most important thing there is that listening and being able to be totally present in what you're talking about. And so it's something where that breeds into your ability to build that relationship, and your ability to focus on that person in front of you allows you to communicate your knowledge to the best of your ability. And you can't learn to communicate that knowledge until you know that person, until you can build that relationship with them and know how they learn, so that you can give them that knowledge in terms that they can understand, right, Jordan?
Yeah, and just to add on that, I mean, one thing that I saw that's really helped me in my career at this moment, ironically enough, was waiting tables and bartending.
Yeah.
This was back in the early 2000s where 20% wasn't guaranteed. So in a span of 45 minutes, I had to relate to a four top. I had to try to sell them an appetizer, try to get their drink order up, try to check on their entree order, make sure, do the 1 minute check back, all the while understanding where they came from, what they're doing. You know, are you on vacation? What's going on? You guys got any fun plans? This, that, and the other, and find some way for me to relate to them to make their experience better. And that's the same thing we have to do on the lesson tee amidst getting them better at golf, is making sure that they're enjoying their time on the lesson tee and that it's a fun release. Like I always say, we're super blessed. We get to help other people enjoy their leisure time better. I mean, what better opportunity is that for a day?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so as you go and you build those relationships with people, it, like I said, it allows you to communicate your knowledge to them in an effective way. So we'll have exercises, we'll have little breakout groups and team building exercises that we'll do with them to help them to learn more about each other. But also the way that we're going to help them learn about each other is a way that will help them to interact with the player, whether it be in the interview process, getting to know them right away, or whether it be in the lesson. Those little exercises are going to be great because we want to be able to help them to convey their knowledge to people. And knowledge can go anywhere from, as you see on the screen, all the way from cause and effect to social media and marketing. And as we look to become better coaches, usually that information that we're looking to seek out is usually golf instruction based. It's usually technique based or mechanics based in the golf swing and what we can do to improve skills in those areas. But those are only a small part of the pie with regards to knowledge that we need to develop ourselves in skill base wise to become a better golf instructor. And one of the things, for example, that I'm looking to learn more about in this process, and I brought it up at the Cornerstones, is technology. I don't really use technology when teaching. And so the industry is obviously trending in that direction, and I need to get on board with that. So the ability for me to be able to learn how to use that technology, to be able to understand better, obviously understand how it works, but understand better how it works and how I can use it to my advantage, but then still be able to communicate something so complex and difficult to someone in terms they can understand. Ball flight laws are very complicated. And we start talking about path and face angles and angle of attack and dynamic loft, we may end up communicating something to that person they can't understand. So it's being able to regurgitate that to someone in terms they can understand, but it goes all the way from cause and effect to social media. And I think that those skills in social media in this day and age, in marketing and in business, are a very important piece to helping instructors become more successful, getting new customers, retain the customers they currently have, and being able to show their credibility. So this is the reason why you should come take a golf lesson from me. So having somebody come in who specializes in that realm of their profession to communicate how to improve that to a golf professional is something that I'm looking forward to doing, because I obviously as a golf pro can teach grip, aim, setup, and ball flight laws, but getting into marketing and social media is something that's not as helpful for me. So having people come in who specialize in those areas to educate associates and golf instructors looking to learn about improving their craft is something that we're really looking forward to doing, right, Trevor?
And the thing that's really helped me a lot is just building a team around me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm good at what I can do, and I'm good at what I do, and I can always learn. But having an expert at social media or marketing or my CPA or my bookkeeper, right? Those are the people that alleviate a lot of pressure off of me to allow myself to run the academy the way that I see fit, because I don't have to think about that. It's taken care of, right? And I think it all comes down to understanding that we can't do everything on our own, and building a team around you of people who are strong in areas that you're weak in is the best way to find success.
Absolutely. And I was fortunate enough to meet that team, right? And what's the first thing that I said to you so far about the team that you're building is that you have good people on your team. And it's not about finding people to fill spots. It's about finding the right people, people that you can rely on, the people that you can trust to take part in your business and take part of your journey, because that is a very important part of it. We need to be able to set ourselves up for success.
Yeah, absolutely.
You go ahead and take this one, Jody.
All right. So execution after relationships and knowledge, right? You got to execute. You have to be able to cross the T's and dot the I's, right? Proof's in the pudding. So this is where kind of the commitment and perseverance really come through. I can't tell you how many times I've quote unquote failed, said no, gotten the no's where I wanted yeses, trying to open up an academy at different golf courses. Should I go and sell insurance and try to leverage my golf game? This really isn't working out. You know, but there was always just something burning inside me that said, nope, this is the one. Just keep sticking to it. And, you know, brighter days are coming your way. And I think a lot of times, because there's no roadmap to doing that successfully, it can look a lot of different ways. A lot of people get deterred and they might take the safe job in the shop or just only teach a little bit. And all I can say is, you know, jumping off the cliff sometimes is the best way to find the bottom. And, you know, it's all comes down to how much pride you take in what you're doing and how you do it. From the most meticulous setup details to the most extravagant, you know, technology that you have on the lesson tee, it all matters. If you step on our lesson tee, you'll see that everything is uniform, everything is clean. There's no splashed balls anywhere. There's no broken tees anywhere. It looks clean. You know, it goes back to that Dr. Gonzo approach. If you guys were in the doctor's room and I walked in with a white lab coat and a stethoscope and a clipboard, you'd probably think I was a doctor, but I've never gone to medical school. All right. So it's all about kind of the execution and the way that you present yourself, your facility, and your ability.
And so with that, it's, you said a key word there early on, it's failing. And as we're coming up in the industry, everybody has a fear of failure, right? We all want to be able to be successful and to do a good job and to have people appreciate how hard we're working. And that perseverance bullet point there at the very forefront is something that as a coach, you'll have to get used to. I remember as I came on board in 2014 as a coach for Golf Made Simple, I went through we have a 5-week training program, 6 days a week, 8 hours a day that we take every instructor through regardless of experience. And it's something where I went through that 5-week training program. I came out of it confident. I got into my coaching. I was down in Innisbrook in Tampa teaching my first appointment. And after about the first month, my lessons started to go downhill. And I was having a hard time, as you'll see in the next slide, with expectation management. And I was letting golfers take over the lesson. And it kept happening and happening and happening. And I couldn't get past it to the point where basically I was almost on the chopping block to get fired. But I remember Mark Solomon, who founded GMS, took a chance on me. And he gave me an opportunity to do some more training. He still saw something in me to be able to say, hey, this person has values that I feel are important to being a good coach and improving themselves and improving my company. I want to give him more training. He saw something in me. And if I did not push through that moment, I would not be sitting here in front of you. If I said, no, I'm good, and I kind of wanted to go teach my lessons, I would have gotten fired and I would have been on to something else. but I took it on my chest that, hey, I needed to get better. And that opportunity was there. And I tried to push through that as best as I can. But that's just one example of little roadblocks and obstacles that you're going to encounter in your career. And it's very easy with all the opportunities that we have in the world right now to just shift gears and go somewhere else. You have to really kind of, if you really want something, sometimes just keep your nose to the grindstone, and eventually you're going to break through when you least expect it. Now here is the final cornerstone is maybe something that I feel is maybe one of the more important ones, in a sense of this is everything that you do as a coach. Process is driving everything. If you went to the Teaching and Coaching Summit last year, the one thing they talked about a lot is that system or that process being written down and being consistent across the board. Jordan has a system for how he coaches. At GMS, we have a system for everything from the very moment of the interview process when you meet a golfer on day one, all the way through when they leave and you shake their hand and you start the follow-up process when they leave your program. Everything is structured, everything is consistent, and everything is in place for that coach to be able to do their job in a competent way. Process will breed confidence. The lack of process of many golf lessons that are being taught is the exact reason why golfers come to see Golf Made Simple, is because they're frustrated by the lessons that they're getting. And that's not a fault of the instructor, that's not a fault of the training process, that's just the golfer's mindset. And I'm just trying to reiterate that to the listeners that those are not my words. So it's something where, as we have the process in place, that coach who understands the golf swing can now be clear to communicate that with confidence. And I think that's something Jordan could definitely build on.
Yeah, I always follow Coach John Wooden's philosophy on this one, where he would take his basketball team into the locker room at the beginning of every season, and on the blackboard, he'd write R over P equals 0 with a line through it, and then P over R equals success. And what he's talking about is when you put the process first, right, you're going to win every time. The results will always come. And I think a lot of people, myself included, whether it's building a business, whether it's getting busy on the lesson tee, whether it's seeing my student improve, we're always kind of focused on that result instead of focusing on what are the steps to get to that result and focusing on each step to get me to where I want to be. And so setting a goal is good, but setting how you're going to get there is much more important, right? And just pertaining to coaching, a lot of times I found that harping over mechanics on a 20 handicap who really just needs more of a challenge in a game like training scenario where it's see it, feel it, do it, is where that process really takes hold, and then they start to see the result, and then they get caught up on the result. So then we have to manage their expectation and understand that, hey, just because you hit one good one out of 10 doesn't mean that you deserve to hit 9 out of 10 good, right? It's a learning process. The next goal is going to be to hit 3 out of 10 good, right? And I think through that proper communication and proper drills, proper knowing when to harp, knowing when to ease off, knowing when to have them take a break, that's really pivotal in getting to the end result, which is the result.
And that's why when we started to do this, results actually was the fourth cornerstone in the beginning. We are being paid for results. The customer is not coming to see us usually. There are some, depending on their expectations and the reason for taking golf lessons, but usually the person coming to see you, the expectation is, I want to see results from this. They're not coming to you just for their health. They're coming to you because they want to get better. And we as golf professionals have a very good opportunity. 3.2 million people played golf for the first time in 2021. That is a record. 2.4 million was the record back in 2000. So for the first time since 2000, breaking through the 3 million new golfer barrier is a very important thing. But the thing is, those golfers need our help. Those are the golfers who we want to be on the golf course playing more, having more fun, and being able to keep up with the group in front of them. And as we look to develop this cornerstones of coaching, Jordan mentioned his level 3 presentation for PGA. Similar experience with us is part of the reason why I want to do something like this in our training process. Having the opportunity to train as many instructors as I have, I'm able to see those gaps in where there are trends of skills that are not being developed as much as they could be as a collective whole. And there's a disconnect in the industry right now, in a sense of we have golf professionals who are of Jordanized demographic, where I'm 36, Jordan, you're 38.
39.
And those are even younger than us. So here we have golf professionals who are 25 to 35, giving lessons to people who are 55 to 75, making 3 times as much money, staying at the Ritz-Carlton, not eating Buffalo Wild Wings as much and going to the Holiday Inn as much as we are. So there's a disconnect in expectations there between the golf professional and the customer. So being able to have this process of learning how to manage expectations, how to personalize the lesson to them, and create a plan and a structure to help set them up for success and results is very important, because that process may vary slightly from person to person. So as the listener here, if you have PGA associates or assistant golf professionals or a head golf professional with the golf yourself, having the coaching experience or getting involved in something like this with us, we want to create that camaraderie where we're looking to learn just as much from you as we're looking for you to learn from us. This is as much of a learning opportunity for Jordan, Thomas, and myself as it is for you, because now we can learn how to better communicate to you as the golf professional. We can better learn to communicate to our golfers, and we can better learn to communicate to each other to make this process of the cornerstones better and better each time we do it. So Jordan, if you want to explain a little bit of the process of cornerstones, of how we're going to roll this out, so that way we can let everybody know how they can get involved as we move forward.
Yeah, so I think a lot of it is just having you guys reach out to us. I think we had our emails up there on the first 2 slides, but just reaching out to us and letting us know what trials and tribulations you're finding at your specific facilities, because there's a whole different way that it can look at different places. You know, some places are just driving range, some are just a golf course with no driving range, maybe just a practice chipping area. And whatever type of feedback we can get that you're struggling with and wanting to learn more about and explore more about will help us in our curriculum and our lesson plan under the umbrella of these 4 cornerstones. And, you know, I think we're going to do the next one in January sometime, maybe at Pechanga. I don't know if Randy's going to be gracious enough to have us out there. But yeah, that's pretty much what we want. We want you guys to be just as involved as us. Like, we're honestly looking to you guys for guidance and leadership on how we can communicate better to you. You know, sending your assistant pros, sending your associates, right? If you want to host at your facility, this is all encompassing. This is going to be, you know, I've got 2 TrackMans out there, so we want you guys to be able to get hands-on with it, right? I can bring, TaylorMade's giving me all the fitting equipment I could ever need. We can do one about club fitting if you think that could help your facility, right? How to run a good junior program. How do we take care of geriatrics that can't really move that well, right? How do we make sure that we keep them on the golf course as long as possible? Because that's the most important thing. We don't want to teach them how to swing like Rory McIlroy because he's 80 years old, he's going to break a hip, right? So these are the type of things that I foresee us covering, and then having y'all come in and throw out things that you're struggling with at your facility or questions that you might have would be wonderful and helpful to us as well.
Yeah, because the idea is we're going to do one of these each quarter. So each quarter of the year, we'll have a facility, we're going to have a curriculum, and we're going to have it set up so that everyone can come in. And as Jordan was saying, this is not going to be like it is now, or even like the first one necessarily. We don't want to sit up there like we are on the webinar and sit there and just talk, right? golf professionals are coming to learn, we want to get them. It's like I told everybody at the first event, come and watch me teach, right? But if you come and watch me teach, you better be prepared to get to work, because I'm not just going to have you stand there. I want you to get involved, and I want you to get something out of it. And it's the same thing here. So as they come to a Cornerstones event, it's going to be getting you up. It's going to be getting you maybe working with another pro with regards to getting golf lessons and giving golf lessons. It's going to be a possibility that we may have a golfer come in or something like that as a guinea pig for us to show how to help somebody improve their skills and to give everybody an opportunity to do that. So there's numerous ways that we can do this, and the idea is going to be to have a highlight of a cornerstone each one of these that we do, and then allow time for the audience to have things that they want to improve, because it's something that we know that coaches coming to see us are having things that they're fighting. And as we saw in the first one, there was one particular coach coming who was having an issue fixing a particular issue with their golfers and was looking for guidance on how to correct that and how to improve that. So it's something where we want to make sure that we have that time allocated in there to be able to make sure that the people coming get as much out as we possibly can. Because as you can probably tell, Jordan and I had a hard time fitting 3 hours of content, and so you can imagine the difficulties we had trying to get it in an hour for the listeners here. And John, how are we doing on time, by the way? I want to make sure that we're not running over.
We're doing great. We got about 23 minutes left, and I just want to commend you guys for first of all being a part of the teaching committee for the section, but also putting together a support vehicle like the 4 pillars. We talked about this when we connected the other day, where in all the different facets of our golf profession, it's in the mentors, really, it's in the mentor's best interest to develop the mentee, because if it's golf operations, the assistant, with more leadership and more training, the assistant's going to become a better asset for the head professional or for the director of golf. If it's in executive leadership, developing the head professional or the director of golf is going to become an asset for the mentoring general manager. But as so many times we see in instruction, there's so many protected niches and markets where in a lot of situations, there isn't a support group to develop future teachers, because existing teachers are, focused on driving their business as they should be, but they're also focused on protecting their market share. And that doesn't make for a good recipe for helping develop associates. So can you talk a little bit about how the two of you came together within the teaching committee to develop this, and what motivated the two of you to take such a selfless action as a team?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely live in an eat what you kill business. And I definitely, especially in Hawaii, when I was first like, oh yeah, maybe teaching this and that, no one wanted to tell me anything. No one wanted to give me any guidance on anything. I had to read my own books. I had to go through my own stuff, except for one person. And they gave me a lot. They gave me a lot of free time. They gave me a lot of coaching on my own game. Subsequently, I was able to convert that into coaching others. But, we always want to give, like we're trying to teach people how to play golf. So if we're not giving them, we're not really doing our jobs. And I always think it's really important to know where you've been, to know where you're going. And as I'm getting older and as my career is changing and going in better places at the moment, I've been given a lot through this game. And I feel it's time for me to do the stuff to give back to it, right? And just being able to help someone achieve a goal or a dream, that matters just as much to me as my business running well. I think it's something that was instilled in me a long time ago, to always pay it forward, even in a industry that is mostly like, nope, give me that, right? It's just like surfing. Everyone's trying to take everyone's wave, right? But the ones who are in the lineup who understand, oh no, that guy's on the inside. No, that's his wave. Those are the guys who end up getting the bigger wave next time.
For me, it was about opportunity. I've been blessed with really two big opportunities in my career to this point. Number one is the opportunity to coach full-time with Golf Made Simple, and my mentor Mark Solomon is has instilled those values in me in his giving of information and his willingness to help me grow my skills. Everything from that time in 2014 when I was struggling to promoting me to mentor instructors after 2 years to them bringing me out to the West Coast to make me director of instruction and helping me to learn how to train instructors and how to help them learn the things that I was learning. And then from there to now where I'm at with the company to where I earn the director of instruction position. And now I'm basically running the company, everything from the budgeting of the programs to the searching for new facilities, the hiring, training, and mentoring of coaches. And so that opportunity alone has given me a lot of confidence in my ability to see my potential come through. And then the second opportunity is from Chairman Che to give me an opportunity to come on the teaching committee to begin to grow my network of like-minded individuals like Jordan. When I called Randy to talk about this idea of, at that point I called it, I think I called it, with my podcast is Coaching Coaches, but I'm trying to remember what the first, I think it was like the Foundations of Coaching seminar that I did in the Desert Chapter back in February. And I called Randy to talk about it. Immediately within 30 seconds, I need to get you in touch with Jordan. And quickly after meeting Jordan, I could tell that our moral compasses and our vision for wanting to give back and wanting to help people really align. And so I'm a firm believer that when you find like-minded individuals who have a passion for a good project, that great things can happen. And I mean, there's times where even in prepping for this Catalyst, we did a meeting that was it was supposed to be like a 45-minute meeting, Jordan. It turned into 2 hours, just because we start ham and egging it and talking about how we can to make this as good as we possibly can. And I think at heart we're just golf nerds. And so it's something where when you have a coworker or someone that you're collaborating with that has the same type of energy that you do, that it really sets you up for success. And that's what we're looking for out of the participants and out of people who want to be involved. We want that energy. We want them to be excited. We want them to be open to learning as we are. And we want them to be involved in this process in any of these ways that you see on screen right now. And you can attend, you can mentor, you can become a speaker at one of these events. So we want the golf industry to grow. And for us to be able to see the sustainability continue to move forward, I'm a believer that instruction should be a very important cog in that wheel, as it has been. But also, in order to keep the golf industry improving, I believe that we need to increase the number of successful instructors that we have, which kind of goes against what we were talking about previously, everybody protecting their secrets and having it all internal, where what Jordan and I are looking to do is to spread that knowledge and to share that knowledge, because we've just learned it from somebody else and just worded it a different way anyway. So it's all the sharing of knowledge. It's a beautiful thing. And I think that's really what drives me, is when I get people who are really giddy about learning as I am, that's where the passion comes in, Doug.
So when we talk about the pillars, let's drill down for a second into the third pillar on execution. You guys talked about perseverance and commitment. When you're driving your own business, it's not like, well, I want to be my own boss and work 20 hours a week. It doesn't work that way. When you own your own business, you work more hours. You have to have more ownership, and you'd never clock out. How did the two of you personally persevere through that period in your life where there was doubt and there was struggle? What were some of the elements that kept you going?
Go ahead, Brandon.
I was going to say, I think for me, it's a couple things. It's this slide here, the relationships, whether it be family, whether it be close friends, whether it be a mentor or somebody that you have that you can go to for advice. I think that relationship is part of it. But I think too, in those moments, you have to, I'm sorry, I'm going the wrong way. In those moments of perseverance, I'm horrible at this, Jeff. in those moments of struggle and perseverance, you have to look back, and number one, on past experiences. You're not coming up to a difficult situation for the first time. So I think in that moment, it's breathe. That's something that I'm learning about myself through yoga, is that breathing is very important, to give yourself a second to react and pump the brakes and make a good decision. But it's something where the breathing is there. And I think for me, it's seeing that next step, right? I have a tendency in those situations to be overwhelmed and to try to do too much. And I try to see the end goal. And as John Wooden would say, you have to run the race. And if you do the little things in the race as far as execution goes, the result's going to be the result, whether it's positive or negative. You did your best. And so I always look back on something like that, to where I have all this going on, I'm under all this pressure. Can I see my next step? Can I see one step in front of me? And can I put the pieces in place to take that one step? And if I can do that one step, I can then take the next step. And I think for me, it's decluttering everything and filtering through the most important tasks that I have, and being able to say, okay, I need to get this one task completed before we go on to the next one, because it's very easy to get overwhelmed. Jordan?
Yeah, I was just trying to think while Brandon was talking about some of my experiences. The perseverance and commitment, like John was asking us about, and what led us and kept us in it. For me, it was really just kind of understanding myself. It was, do I want to work in an office? Nope. Do I want to be outside? Yes. Right. Do I like interacting with people? Yes. Right. Can I communicate pretty well one-on-one? Yes. Yeah. And I think it was through all of that and my love for the game that there wasn't any other answer, because I understood what made me me. I went and talked with Jamie a while back, and he talked to me about the wheel and like, what are the spokes to the wheel that keeps it turning for you, right? And that was a lot about me, and knowing that I was on the right track, I just had to keep going. I've been on my own since I was 18 years old, so it's always been a struggle. Nothing's ever come easy. So I didn't really expect this to. And I think just having that knowledge that you are on the right track. There's been a lot of signs throughout the years given to me by the universe that have told me that I was on the right track, and I just believed that I was. And I kept grinding, and I kept, with every no, I kept working harder and harder. And I look back now, getting to teach staring at the ocean all day. Thank God all those golf courses said no to my program and my club fitting program. And it's funny, it's actually a Jim Carrey quote. He said one time in a speech, he goes, throw what you want out into the universe. Work like hell to get it, but come to fruition on the way that it comes to pass. And I think that's really important. Like, throw what you want out there. Keep working towards it. Keep always working towards it. But understand it could look a little different than the goal you initially set.
Yeah. It's almost like, for me, John, you said something too about in those moments of struggle, and we all are struggling with an industry-wide problem, is the work-life balance, right? And it's something where there's a lot of talk in history about, if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. And I don't think that's further from the truth. It's, if you love what you do, you work your ass off every day of your life, and you enjoy it, and you push through it. And when you find a passion for coaching, or for being a head golf professional, or a director of golf, or an assistant pro, or a tournament manager, or a merchandiser, whatever your niche is, when you find that, go head on. There's no reason to wait for somebody else to recognize what you're doing to give you opportunities. Sometimes you just have to say, you know what, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to work my butt off. Somebody's going to take notice eventually, but I can't wait for somebody else to take notice. I have to carve my own path. I have to make my own way and make my own waves. And I think that mentality through that perseverance is a good one to have. Of, you know, it's not that if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. It's no, you work harder every day of your life. And so when you find that position, or you find that niche in the industry, that's the mentality that I'd love people to have, is just go full bore. But with that full bore, take that time for yourself, because you need it.
Well, there's an element that is very similar between the two of your stories. It seems to me that you two have been exceptional at being fearless in setting your sights on what you wanted to accomplish. And it's like, you know, human beings, we're at our best when we're fearless. You know, we seem to be at our worst when we're full of fear. And in order for the two of you to have done the way you've done and go out on the limbs that you've gone on, you had to have really dismissed fear and dismissed consequence. And I commend you both for that. Randy, do you want to jump in and say a few words?
Yes, please. So the messages that I hear here, which is spot on, is when you ask them, you know, making the time as busy as everybody is to giving back. And one thing that I've learned after all these years, you know, when you get tenfold what you give in, you know, so it seemed to happen to me ever since I made that decision too. It's like, it's time for me to give back and help everybody else. The more I help, the busier I got, the more better things that have started to come into my life. And so that's a big deal. And you make it a priority. These gentlemen, as busy as they are, you know, set time aside one way or another. You've been on those email says, hey, let's figure out a time to get, even though I don't care how busy I am. They made that the priority. So the giving back is an easy thing to do, and make that time if you're not getting paid for it. I also went to the first Cornerstone to coaching series, and I feel like I'm pretty successful at where I'm at. I worked really hard and did everything that these guys talked about, and came away from that event. I picked up two things that I've put into, you know, all of my coaches at my schools. I've got eight other coaches. I've got 4 facilities, 4 golf schools here in Southern California. So you never stop learning. And I've been doing this for a really long time. So that's the big message here, is like, I learned more from these guys, and I did it in a faster process. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, so join, you know, and you just have to make that time. And it was fun. We played 9 holes after the relationship. I met 2 other people I did not know before that have contacted me as well. So it just starts snowballing once you start getting involved and getting engaged. So that's been our biggest thing for, you know, our board and this teaching and coaching, is getting engaged and getting involved. So I thank you, Jordan and Brandon, for stepping up and getting involved. Jordan talked about wanting to do something like this. We tried to make a temp of it, but I think with you joining forces here, it kind of finally came to fruition, and a great job to you too. And again, thanks a lot for doing this. And it was great. It was totally awesome. And I want to see everybody at the summit, because that's another place that you folks are going to be able to do this whole these whole cornerstones of coaching, building those relationships. So thank you, guys.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, guys.
Jordan, Brandon, on behalf of the Education Committee for this section, we want to thank you guys for putting together the program, but also carving out some time this morning to put together a presentation and come on the webcast and present to the section. For all the members that are on this morning's Catalyst, you will earn 1 PDR point for attending. For those of you that are viewing the Catalyst through the archive dropdown on the section website, there is no longer a quiz associated with this Catalyst. So there are only PDR points for the attendees that are on the live webcast, but you're certainly encouraged to use the presentation as a reference. That's why it's there. Again, on behalf of the Education Committee, thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Randy. And we'll see all of you at the Teaching and Coaching Summit at Virginia in 2 weeks. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Everyone.
Thanks, you guys.